In June of 2018, the United States Supreme Court ruled by a vote of 7-2 that a decision of the Colorado Civil Rights Commission imposing penalties and sanctions against a Christian bake shop owner for refusing to provide a wedding cake to a same-sex couple based on his religious beliefs violated the First Amendment's guarantee of religious freedom. The court concluded that the overt hostility to religion in the state commission's ruling was contrary to the respect and tolerance of religious beliefs that the First Amendment requires. For example, one of the commission members compared the Christian bake shop owner's religious beliefs in opposition to same-sex marriage as slavery and the Holocaust. How does this ruling affect pastors, churches, and Christian business owners? Let's address pastors first. The Supreme Court made an important comment in its ruling pertaining to the religious liberty of pastors. It said, when it comes to weddings, it can be assumed that a member of the clergy who objects to gay marriage on moral and religious grounds could not be compelled to perform the ceremony without denial of his or her right to the free exercise of religion. This refusal would be well understood in our constitutional order as an exercise of religion, end quote. Second, how does the court's ruling affect churches? It doesn't, at least directly, since the court was addressing the constitutional rights of Christian business owners. One important issue that was not addressed by the court is the application of the non-discrimination provisions in public accommodation laws to churches that engage in commercial activities on their premises. For example, many churches allow their sanctuary to be used for marriages and other events by non-members and charge a fee that in some cases has generated a substantial amount of revenue. Does this activity make the church a place of public accommodation, subject to the non-discrimination provisions in a state public accommodations law, which often include a ban on discrimination based on sexual orientation, gender identity, and marital status? It is true that many of these laws contain a specific exemption for religious organizations, but the application of such an exemption to a church that frequently rents its facilities to members of the general public is largely untested. The court's decision leaves this question on the table. A third constituency affected by the court's ruling are Christian-owned businesses, and this was the constituency that was the focus of the court's attention. Unfortunately, the court provided little guidance since its ruling that the bake shop owner's religious freedom had been abridged was based entirely on the hostility to his religious beliefs manifested by the Colorado Civil Rights Commission. There was no analysis of the substance of the bake shop owner's constitutional claims. The takeaway point is that Christian business owners that engage in religious-based discrimination in the provision of goods or services to the public cannot be penalized for doing so by a civil rights commission or court that manifests an overt hostility to those beliefs. But the court's opinion suggests that the ruling could have gone the other way had the Colorado Civil Rights Commission been less overtly contemptuous of the bake shop owner's religious beliefs. Obviously, this suggests a pathway for administrative agencies and the courts to follow in elevating state and local bans on discriminatory practices by places of public accommodation over the sincerely held religious beliefs of Christian business owners. In this regard, the court concluded its opinion with this observation, quote, "The outcome of cases like this in other circumstances must await further elaboration in the courts, all in the context of recognizing that these disputes must be resolved with tolerance, without undue disrespect to sincere religious beliefs, and without subjecting gay persons to indignities when they seek goods and services in an open market," end quote. I will be covering developments in future videos and in my Church Law and Tax Report newsletter. Thank you for your attention.